All right, today we're diving into something that feels genuinely revolutionary for enterprise software. This model, it's born from, over 3 decades of experience in the IT trenches. We're going to unpack how a huge shift in architecture, supercharged by AI, can finally break a trap that almost every modern business has fallen right into. Let's get into it. I want to start with this idea because it gets right to the heart of the problem. Think about it. For the last decade, as your company has grown, hired more people, processed more transactions, your software costs have just ballooned right alongside it. You're literally being punished for your own success. And that right there is the central issue with the whole software as a service model that dominates everything now. So, before we can even talk about the solution, we've got to do what any good strategist does. We need a clear-eyed diagnosis of the problem. Let's break down exactly what this modern SaaS trap is, and maybe more importantly, how we all manage to walk right into it. So, what exactly is the SaaS trap? Well, think of it like an addiction. Businesses were facing this really complex internal problem, managing all their own software, and they opted for the quick fix, just outsource it to the cloud. And sure, that felt like a relief at first, but it led to this dangerous dependency where we basically surrendered control of our core business processes to vendors who had every single incentive to keep us locked in and paying more. Now, what's really fascinating is that this trap wasn't built overnight. Not at all. It's actually the end result of decades of architectural decisions that just kept compounding over time. So to really get what's happening now, we have to take a quick look back. It all kind of started in the 80s with these rigid, isolated data silos. Then, in the 2000s, we tried to connect everything, and we created what the author here calls the integration hairball, just a total nightmare of custom, hard-coded connections. And finally, in the 2010s, we just sort of gave up and outsourced the whole mess to SaaS vendors. We traded one problem for another, the trap of paying perpetual rent. And that right there, that just brilliantly sums up the strategic failure. The industry was busy, writing code, connecting systems. That was all motion. But we weren't making real progress towards a sustainable architecture. We just traded our internal complexity for external costs, and in the process, we basically handed over the keys to our own business logic. But here's the good news. It's not all doom and gloom. According to systems thinking, every single trapped system has a leverage point, one little place where a small shift can change everything. So now, let's explore the guiding policy that is that leverage point, the one that can break us out of the trap. Okay, the whole key is this, the metadata engine. So instead of burying your business rules, things like payroll compliance or billing tiers, deep inside millions of lines of code, you pull them out. You abstract them into a separate, universal layer. This architecture treats all your business functions not as a bunch of separate apps, but as data flows governed by a single central nervous system. I mean, just look at the difference here. The old way is so brittle. You need to change an overtime law? That's a massive, expensive IT project. But in the new way, you just update the metadata rule. The universal engine reads that new rule and the entire system adapts on the fly. You're shifting from building with concrete to sculpting with clay. It's a total game changer. Now, this whole metadata architecture thing, it's been a powerful idea for years. But what makes it an absolutely unstoppable force today? Well, that brings us to the real catalyst, the action that changes the entire game. The synthesis of metadata with modern generative AI. This is probably the single most important insight to grasp. Don't ask AI to write your messy, complex applications. It's just not good at it. It will fail. But metadata? That's a different story. It's pure, structured logic. It's a language of rules and relationships, and this is an environment where generative AI performs flawlessly. So we're not using AI to write more code. We're using it to manage the logic that runs the code. And check out how this completely transforms the workflow. A business leader just describes a new rule in plain English. The AI instantly translates that into perfect, structured metadata. And then the engine executes it immediately across the entire company. The barrier between the business and its technology it completely evaporates. So, what's the payoff for making this radical shift? Well, this brings us to the final section, the new paradigm of the zero-cost enterprise. This is where all that architectural theory turns into a massive financial and strategic advantage. No, that is not a typo. By owning your metadata, the actual DNS of your business operations, you completely eliminate the need to rent applications from vendors.
Your HR, your payroll, your financial systems, they're no longer services you pay for every single month. They're just outcomes of your own logic running on your own engine.
This chart really says it all. Those exorbitant fees you're paying SaaS vendors, they just disappear. Your only variable cost becomes the raw cloud compute power you need to run the engine, which is a tiny, tiny fraction of what you're paying right now. You're no longer paying for the vendor's massive sales team, their marketing budget, or their profit margin. And look, the benefits go way beyond just cost. The system can now actually predict and prevent compliance violations before they even happen. Leaders can finally understand their own business just by asking the AI questions in plain English. And maybe most importantly, the millions of dollars you free up from software rent can be put back into things that actually grow the business. True innovation. This right here is the core philosophical shift. It's the final call to action. Software shouldn't be something you treat like a utility that you just rent month after month. The logic that runs your business is a core asset. It is an architecture that you absolutely must own and control. The technology to do this isn't some far-off theory anymore. The AI metadata synthesis is here, right now. So the only question left is for the leaders watching. You've seen the lever that can break the trap. Are you ready to pull it?